best explained if I share with you the 5 levels of gut intelligence. And gut intelligence is the wisdom to know the truth, but it's also the guts to do something about it. And I want you to think about that definition for a moment, because yes, it's about the wisdom, but we can have the wisdom. But if we don't have the guts to do something about it, we're stuck in fear and we're not applying that knowledge, that experience, that understanding, that insight to the situation, because we're holding back out of our fear of the outcome. So let's look at those 5 levels of increased gut intelligence, which is the wisdom to know the truth and the guts to do something about it. So the first level is unconsciousness. Why are people unconscious? Well, it's because people don't want to know the truth. Now, why wouldn't people want to know the truth? Well, it can be for several different reasons. It could be because they don't want to have to deal with the truth. Maybe they don't like conflict. Maybe they feel they don't have good communication skills to stay in the agree to disagree. Maybe they don't have an open mindset of possibility thinking. So when they see the truth of something, they can only see this or that. They can't see all the possibilities to deal with it. So they become afraid and they shut down and they want to put their head in the sand to be unconscious. Now, how do we do that? How do we create unconsciousness? And we need to understand that so we know what not to do. So we create unconsciousness by addictions. And addictions can be anything from being distracted, being super busy, drinking, drugs, overeating, gambling, overspending, anything that distracts you and keeps you from listening within to that gut alert that tells you, stop, pay attention. This needs to be dealt with. And if we're honest, we can all relate to at least the level of distraction and busyness that we do when we don't want to deal with something and we want to be unconscious and we keep pushing it away and we tell ourselves lies like, oh, I'll deal with that when the time is right. And the time is never right. The second level, and here's where we're getting a little more honest and we're owning it. The second level to wisdom is dealing with our self-doubt, dealing with our fear. Now I'm emphasizing the word dealing because a lot of us don't want to deal with it. It's uncomfortable. See, wisdom happens when we get a ping in our gut. It's a gut alert that, hello, pay attention. That's all our gut is. It's an unconscious brain that warns us. Think of like an animal that has a warning signal. Ooh, stay away from this. This is dangerous. They don't cognitively process it in their head, but they trust their instincts. Our gut is our instinct. Ooh, pay attention. All right? But then our heart is our emotions. This is where we feel the fear, the self-doubt. Oh, fear. Can I deal with this? Am I enough? It is very unconscious. It's very unconscious. It goes through our mind super quickly. Fear. Am I enough to deal with this? Will I be enough if I deal with this? So this can be anything from seeing the stock market go down, seeing people, millions and millions of people go on unemployment, seeing people you know who've lost their jobs that you thought they never would, seeing people you know get sick from the coronavirus that you thought were too young, too healthy. And then you begin to wonder, oh, ping in my gut, fear, am I gonna be okay? Will I be enough to deal with this should that happen to me? Now, a lot of times when people get to level 2, they wanna slip back into unconsciousness again and just not deal with it, right? Because maybe they don't have the answer. They don't have the knowledge and the experience. And so they're like, I don't want to even deal with that because I don't know what the possibilities are. But when we go to level 3, which is self-awareness, we're really working with this brain in our heart. We're wrestling with all of the myriad of emotions that go on as we're waiting to discover the wisdom and the possibilities at hand. Now, I have to tell you, level 3, self-awareness, it's kind of like being inside of a cocoon where you're pushing out against the edges and you haven't gotten free yet. And you haven't gotten to that aha knowing. And it's a struggle because we're feeling everything from fear, self-doubt, sadness that this is even occurring, to downright anger and disappointment. And until we connect with all of those emotions and work with the energy of all of that, because we have wisdom in our emotions. Anger is, I don't like this. I want it to change. We have to ask ourselves what needs to change. There's wisdom in that conversation with ourselves, that wondering what has to change. I just got this ping in the gut. I saw that. I don't like that. I want that to change. What has to change? What do I need to do? Dealing with the sadness. Okay, if I got that, if I got that virus, if I, got that furlough slip, I would feel sad. Dealing what that all means to you. What does that all mean to you specifically? Gee, maybe it's because you have little kids, and if I got the virus, I'm not so afraid that I would die, but maybe it's I'd be quarantined away from my kids or my grandkids for 2 weeks. So what is that sadness? What is that loss, potential loss, when you think about it for you? And what is the fear around that? Again, somebody gets the virus and they're 60 some years old and they have a medical condition like diabetes, a heart condition, or a respiratory issue. The fear around getting the virus might be very different for them. It might be dying. Again, for you, it might be locked down for 2 weeks because you have kids and a husband and all of that you want to attend to and connect with. So it's really understanding. See, wisdom is this ability to understand. What does that mean for you? And we really have to work that in level 3 of self-awareness and at the emotional level. So we talked about sadness is, what am I afraid to lose? Fear is, what am I afraid is gonna happen? And anger is, what do I want to change? And disappointment is, what is not the standard that I expected? So it's working with those emotions. Now let's be honest. This is where a lot of times wisdom derails because we're a very busy society. Go back to that idea of, we like being distracted. So we like being busy. I got things to do, places to go, people to see. Well, maybe it's not places to go and people to see so much anymore, but things to do. We find a way to fill our time. And being with the understanding and the wisdom of our emotions requires that we take the time to, number 1, identify those emotions. And again, there can be more than one. And number 2, ask ourselves, what does that mean for me? What is that anger saying for me that I want something to change? What is it? What is that sadness saying that I believe I'm losing something? What is it? That tells me what I value. What am I afraid of? That tells me what I'm attached to. And what am I disappointed in? That tells me what's standard is not being met according to my expectations.